you.
Michigan State, Ohio State fans, you're butthurt that your football program couldn't beat Michigan, so you just latch on to this idea that the signs truly mattered. But let's talk about here the difference between the before COVID Harbaugh and post COVID Harbaugh. Harbaugh fired Don Brown. That's the biggest thing. What happened as a result of that? He goes to his younger brother John Harbaugh and says, "Give me a defensive coordinator or a defensive assistant that could be a good defensive coordinator for you." Guess what happens? A young 36-year-old or 35-year-old Mike McDonald comes over from the Baltimore Ravens elite defense, and what is he there? What is he simply there to do? Stop Ohio State's offense. What does he do? He somewhat does that. Stroud still threw for like 300 yards, but that's neither here nor there. But then what does Michigan do offensively? They get away from the spread that they were trying to do 2019, 2020 kind of time era. They get away from that. What do? That smash football. They go back to the offensive line. They go to the grounded pound, make their quarterbacks a little bit some game managers. Guess what happens? Smash mouth football happens. Offensive line, Hassan Haskins, 5 touchdowns. And then the defensive line, too. Massive difference. Aiden Hutchinson, David Ajabo, like 12 sacks each. Big difference. Fast forward 2022. Now what do they have? Same defenses. Mike McDonald leaves. Guess what they have? They bring in Jesse Minter over from Vanderbilt, also a part of that same Ravens Harbaugh tree. Same defense. What does he do? Shuts down Ohio State again. What else also happens? Ohio State becomes soft. Michigan's offensive line continues to dominate the Buckeyes. And then J.J. McCarthy said they couldn't throw the deep ball, throws the deep ball, gets things done. Basically what happened in those 2 years, Ohio State gets manhandled. Michigan State did win one, by the way. Ohio State gets manhandled. They're soft. Michigan's defense stops their speedy wide receivers. Hey, Jackson Smith-Njigba, how's your injury in that 2022 season? You didn't play in that one for some reason. 2023, all of a sudden, this is why Ohio State couldn't win. This is why Michigan State couldn't win, because Michigan was stealing signs. What just happens when this all comes out? Michigan State doesn't want to play Michigan. It's too scared. So you know what we're going to do? We're going to walk the quarterback over like high school and get the play called that way. Well, you didn't score any points that way. 2023, what happens? Harbaugh can't coach in Happy Valley. Harbaugh can't coach against Ohio State. And Tyrone Moore somehow goes undefeated in that stretch. The guy who DMs OnlyFans models during halftimes of football games gets it done. And then what happens? The great equalizer. Alabama is gonna really stick it to Michigan in the Rose Bowl, which you had for a play because JJ threw a pick in the first play, but it was returned. It was called back. What happens? That's right. Michigan's D-line in defense shows up again, stops Milrow. Let's get to the national championship game. You're gonna play against the number 1 offense in the country. Joe Moore award-winning offensive line. Michael Penix, top 10 pick. Roma Dunze, top 10 pick. Guess what happens? 1 touchdown. Let's just face it. Michigan had elite coaching, elite players during those 3 years, and all this is a cop-out for Ohio State and Michigan State fans. Why? Because you couldn't beat them. And that's all you can say for the rest of time because your schools, Ohio State, let's be real. We could put an asterisk on your last 3 national championships. Not PI against Miami. You need an expanded field in 2015 and 2024. And by the way, Ohio State, you didn't lose to Michigan in 2024. You don't have an Addy.
You script that out, or was that all that off the cuff?
No, that was right off the dome.
Fired all that.
No, that's like a couple years though. That's a couple years though.
I know you're building up to that. Yeah, you and I have done 16 episodes since the revamping of this. I'm surprised you didn't, section out a little time leading up to this episode today. You must have seen something.
I should have just got
a fire underneath you
off screen. Just went my own way.
Just kicked me out, man. You only got 10 minutes left. You should have just kicked me out of here. Yeah, did it yourself. But no, done.
I think you like question of the day. It's a good one.
Sometimes I think that maybe this show would be a little more edgy if you and I came from different schools of thought as it came to college athletics. You know what I mean? Like if I wasn't over here, like, my man's actually making, so he might be taking a little stretches here or there, just to try and get his point across. But, everything that you pretty much said makes complete sense to me. And the biggest thing that I always come back to is that if this was as egregious of a cheating scandal as people make it out to be, and I love when people use big words. That's my favorite. Ooh, the most egregious cheating scandal of all time. It's like, ooh, big words.
Blasphemous.
No, blasphemous. Like, you just learned that one today? Good. Look at you. You had to Google the word to use because you didn't even know what it meant. Just because you use big words doesn't make it any bigger than what it actually is. And the idea of teams cheating in college football in order to try to find an advantage, whether that be advanced scouting, whether that be whatever it may be, in using film, in using other people that are insiders, that friends, connections in the industry to try and get you a leg up on understanding what is this team doing behind closed doors. All of that stuff, the espionage is going on constantly in college football. Because again, if you win in college football, everything else improves at your university. Everybody else benefits from having a good football program. And likewise, if your football program sucks and you're not selling tickets and no one's coming out, guess who struggles? The athletic department. Everybody struggles. Everybody, there is a drawback to everyone in that athletic department if your football team is not good. So what are you going to do? You're going to do everything you can to put yourself in the best position. There are other schools that were doing exactly what Michigan was doing until Michigan decided to do it differently. And then they had a problem, right? Because they found the nerd who was actually really good at doing this. And that really pissed people off.
Nerd was better.
So Michigan's nerd was better. Sign stealing has been a part of the game of football since the inception of the sport. Sue me. Did Michigan do what they did? Yes, obviously they did, and they I think they admitted as much. So they did cheat. Fine, if you want to call it cheating, I would admit to that. But is this something that is unique to only the University of Michigan, or they're the only ones? It's no, this has never happened before ever in the history of college football. If you live in a fairy tale land and you don't know what it's like to be inside of a locker room, or you just simply don't understand the sport of football, yes, if you are a casual, yes, this is probably the most egregious cheating scandal of all time. But if you know a thing or two, you might know that the NCAA was trying to flex its muscle, and they didn't like Jimmy Boy because Jimmy Boy didn't like them. And the thing that I love about Jim Harbaugh is he's not the type to play political games. He doesn't care about playing political games. He doesn't care about meeting you halfway. My guy thinks that the NCAA is Bush League because he saw what Ohio State was doing for years. He saw what all the other programs around him were doing to get a leg up, including those programs in the South that you mentioned episode after episode. And he goes, okay, well, if we're going to play by that game, we're going to play by the same rules. And if you don't like it, put microphones in the helmets, put radios in the helmets, make changes. You know, it was a witch hunt from the beginning, in my opinion. And if it was as egregious as people like to make it out to be, yeah, they would have taken a few wins away. I don't, unless you think Michigan has
That's
some
the
sort
best
of
part in all
superpower.
this.
Yeah, anyways, so I rest my case.
Michigan State and Ohio State have both vacated more wins than Michigan ever has. Just saying. Just putting it out there.
Yeah. So did Michigan do it? Yeah. Do I think it's right to necessarily do it to the extent to which Michigan did it, or other programs for that matter? I mean, I don't know. Like, the thing is about espionage and spying is you don't know about it until it's finally released to the public. Like, but if you don't think that there are things going on outside of just practicing and watching film, like, do you understand the importance of football in the United States? Like, that's the part. Like, if I'm running the US government, like, you bet you're behind I'm going to be taking a look at what they're doing over there, right? Because the stakes are pretty high.
Yeah.
Right? Same thing in college football. If I'm running a football program, if I'm at Notre Dame or Michigan or any one of these places where the success of my football program really could be either the success or the detriment of my time as either an athletic director or a head coach, winning means everything. So of course you're going to do everything you can. But anyways, moving on, let's get to question of the day.